Quiet down a little bit. Welcome everybody to Panfish Nation. Along with Mark, I'm Lyle.
Yeah, Mark, what's going on? I think that might have got through, Lyle.
I think maybe it missed. Maybe we'll see.
Someone's going to
It
be
don't
in
matter.
trouble. Someone's going to be in trouble.
Yeah, probably so. But it is what it is. It won't be the first time for me. Got a great topic tonight, Mark. We talked about this and the bank versus boat. We'll go over some of that stuff here in just a minute. But man, what great fishing weather we're having right now.
100. Well, actually, not so much here. It rained on and off all day.
Oh,
Oh, well, yeah. Hold on. Let's look at the weather for the weekend. Let me give me something to rub in on you here. Weekend, we got nice tomorrow, nice Friday, Saturday in the 70s, 80 degrees on Saturday, and 82 on Sunday. So we're doing all right.
Well, I'm going to check again here, but basically, the last time I looked, which was yesterday, I think, like the next 10 days, it's going to be in the 80s and no rain, just sunshine and.
Well, I'm
nice.
I'm traveling to fish. We're gonna go chase some crappie.
That sounds like a great idea.
Going into the bad time zone, Lyle.
The bad times?
The bad time zone.
Oh, the bad time zone you're going in? Oh, you're not.
I think I might be.
You're headed to the East Coast time?
Eastern Standard Time. I'm not going to the East Coast. That's too far.
Eastern Standard Time.
I had to be talked into driving. I had to be talked into driving this far, and if it wasn't a person that talked me into it, it wouldn't have happened. Because I'm a homebody. You know that.
Yeah, I do. You'll be down there in the Chad zone.
I might even see him in the Chad zone.
He thinks that that's God's time, but in reality, but back in his mind, way back there in that little pea brain he knows it's not.
Did you say Chad is a pea brain?
I did.
I call it Biden time zone.
Well, that makes sense.
Plain and simple. Look at this. I'm getting warnings in there. Watch what? Have you met me? My name is Mark.
Oh man! Oh my! It is good stuff, man. We had a couple of guys in chat early this afternoon, welcoming us in, and I had to go fishing today, Mark, because I want to go catch some eating-sized catfish. So I needed to catch some bait, and we went out, and in 30 minutes, Cindy put over 30 bluegill in the bucket.
Wow!
And I tried to catch them on fly rod. In fact, I went early this morning out on the Nine River and couldn't bite and couldn't hook up. And I downsized everything with some of the smallest tiny flies you ever seen. And they just go up and bump it and go on. It just wouldn't take it. And I fooled that fly rod this afternoon while she was laying out the bluegills and finally decided that I would get my jigging rod out and try some too. And I caught a few, but I could never catch up. She was too far ahead of me, which is fine because she was having a blast. I'm here. I was getting bait. That's what I was after. And pretty soon the shad moved in. You could just see them start hitting the top of the surface everywhere back in. And the water on Stockton Lake is really, I bet it's 30 feet low.
Really?
And I went back there with that cast net and threw it a couple of times in probably 2 foot of water. And I got some big old giant shad. And that's why we went over there. Other than have fun catching the fish, but we needed bait. So I got live bait and I got Chad on ice. And only thing we got to do is hook up the truck when we're done here. And in the morning, we're adiosing.
Oh, you just reminded me of something. I don't think I got rid of the bait, which was shad and chubs and suckers in my cooler from the couples tournament that we were in.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot to rinse that out.
Well, maybe you ought to do that.
I think that'll be a surprise for me when I open it up.
I got to tell you, it's kind of a funny story. We went out and fished Chad's couples tournament over the weekend, had a great time. When we're coming in, we had a little bit of live bait left, and I wanted some fresh bait, so we got rid of those. We put them back in the water, and there was some cut bait in a cooler, and Cindy said, I think that bag leaked blood all over the inside of our cooler. We had them in a Ziploc bag in our cooler where we kept our water. And I said, "Oh man, I hate that." She said, "Did you clean that out?" And I said, "No." She said, "Don't you think you should?" I said, "Okay." So tonight I go out there and I think about it. I'm up in the boat and I grab the cooler and I, man, it's going to be bad. When Chad and Dee was down, spent a week here a while back with us, we used that cooler to put cold drinks in, just the same as Cindy and I do. And Dee or Chad one put some Coca-Cola in there, and I never thought nothing about it. Well, the other day, it'd been in there for a month. I thought, well, hell, I'll just drink one. So I did. And the other, and somehow the lid got loosened on it, and it dumped about half of that in the bottom of the cooler. And it wasn't the old fish; it was Coca-Cola in the bottom of it. So I took the water hose, washed her off, and we're ready to go again.
That stuff will eat a hole in the bottom of a cooler. You got to be careful. At least
That's
the old
probably
ones.
true.
Remember the old steel ones they used to make? I'm sure that
Yeah.
messed them up.
I'd like to have some of them back now.
Yeah, it's some cool ones. I don't think I'd use it so much as when it's sitting, as a display piece. Maybe make a lamp or something cool out of it, and for a backdrop back here. So that would be kind of cool.
It would be, absolutely.
Oh man.
What do you say we welcome some people in chat?
100%. I'd love to do it. 922 Crappie Barbecue in the house. There's Miss Cindy Stokes. How you doing, Cindy? Creole Catfishing. What's up, Jeremy? Fishing with Jeff Beal. What's going on, Jeff? Greg Burgess. What's going on, Greg? How are you, sir? Lance McCoo. What's up, Lance? Mark Bauman. Mark Barnum. Sorry about that, Mark. Mike Sampson. Small Water Charters. What's going on, John? And Tacklebox Mike. Thank you for joining us tonight, folks. We appreciate you.
We had a great day, so I'm looking forward to catching some nice catfish tomorrow, and which kind of brings me to something we had talked about earlier this year, where I wanted to go out one day and catch panfish of some kind, and the next time we go out, I wanted to catch, we go catfishing and switch it back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Which brings us to our topic tonight: bank versus boat fishing, which I love. I love my boat. I love fishing out of the boat, but for pan fishing, James Dockery always talks about these. Well, and he shows people how to whack dock roofs. But he goes to these places up there. He has a lot of conservation lakes, and they have docks on them, and he fishes off of those and does extremely well. And we didn't think we had any of those down here. We looked, and there was no listing anywhere to tell where any of them at. Well, in the last year or so, Cindy and I have found several of those places. And some of them you can go get bait off of. Like today, we had a great day getting bait today. Others, not so much. And one of the places that has one of these docks, of course, there's no dock roof, so I'd never be able to take Dockery down there. But this one place, Cindy and I was in the boat, and we pulled into this cove, and there's this dock. We didn't know it was there. And there's this man and woman, and they are ripping bluegill like them ones that you caught, you and Betty caught.
Big ones, huh?
Giants. And they was just ripping them, putting them in a cooler one right after the other. And he got to talking to me while we was sitting there watching them, because I didn't want to interrupt what they was doing. And Cindy and I had made plans that we was going to go back there during one of those tournaments and fish. Well, we couldn't, no signal.
No,
this typical problem that I run into. But he told me, he said, now, if you go directly across this cove, there's a hump out there with a brush pile on it. He said, you can get them faster over there than you can over here. And I never have found that hump. He told me that 2 or 3 times. And I looked for that on sonar. We've been back up there. The water's extremely low right now. And I've been around there and looked, and I still ain't found it. So I don't know where he's talking about. If I ever see him again, I'll have him be a little more specific so I can get on it, because if it's better at that place.
Just fire, if they're that good and in there, I'm sure if you fired up that 360 you got, you'll be able to see them on that.
One of the things that I've been most impressed with, I don't like these lakes getting so low like they are, but right now, you can see every piece of structure that you've ever tried to fish if you're a bank fisherman, because the water's that low on Stockton and Pomme de Terre, especially Stockton. Stockton is unbelievably low. And those places that we was fishing, we was lucky to catch fish a couple of times. because we was 10 feet away from the structure that we thought we was fishing. But now we know where it's at. And that's exactly why Cindy went in there and got on those bluegill today. I popped a fly in right next to the dock, and there must have been 20 of them bluegill about this long, just zoom right up to the top. And they just take their head and bump, and they wouldn't take it. And she has her little worm on a hook, and she goes to ripping them bad boys. She just slayed them. So it was fun.
You know, low water like that is great. Like you're saying, definitely for bank fishermen. It's like side imaging for bank fishermen.
That's right.
100%. Because I remember back in the day before I did a lot of boat fishing here recently, or just before I got my last prior boat. And if there was low water, everybody be complaining there's no water. And I'm out there scouting and exploring and driving by places on my way home from wherever, try to make the best of it. And, you know, that tree goes out, you know, even with this bush on this side, know where they begin and where they end. And it made a big difference. It helped a lot, definitely.
Yeah. I've showed people that book that I have that tells about their fishing times. And I believe in my heart that you could use that same book to take notes on structure that you found and go back and refer back to it, because there's some blank pages in the back of that book. And when that water's low, you can put the date on it and say, okay, let's go back here and make us some notes. So when we come here fishing, we'll be able to find that again and knock it out. But, you know, where I'm fishing now, Cindy and I fished in a boat before, and you can't get back there in a boat right now. You just can't get to that dock by boat. The water's too low. So there's a lot of structure in there I didn't even know was there, but I know it's there now.
There you go. You know what to look for when you get by there.
Yep. Tackle Box Mike says, I could use a good meal of bluegill. Me too, but these ones we got a couple of eaters, but the rest of them was too small for me to dress. So we will be using these for cut bait, and then probably the next time we go out, we'll probably go to Truman or Lake Ozark or something. Depends on boat traffic, and of course we won't be up there on the weekends probably, and we'll probably be going after some big bluegill, maybe some crappie next trip.
You know, you'd mentioned logging where you're seeing the structure from the bank and such. Mm-hmm. Well, I kind of do the same thing every time I catch a fish, but I do it on my Garmin. I'll mark a waypoint and say, you know, and just put a date and the type of the fish that I caught. This way I can look at all my waypoints. I don't delete them. I back them up to my phone so I can actually look at them from the house, and I'll look at them by month. And then I can tell, let's say it's September, right? I know that I've caught fish in September here. I know I've caught fish in October here. I got a couple of spots like that I'm looking forward to getting on some crappie here. One of the spots being where I couldn't hear you guys slander me, you and Dockery, that one time.
Oh, no, we would do that.
That's in October time.
Real-time catfishing. Welcome.
What's up, John? How you doing, bud? Creole Catfishing came in. What's going on, Creole? I did say hello to Tackle Box Mike. Uncle Jeep's in here. How you doing, Uncle Jeep? And Bugman came in here. What's going on, Bug? How you doing, bud?
One of the things that impressed me was being able to throw a cast net off of the docks in this low water and get quality shad, because the shad we had for over the weekend, the couple of times, it was pretty small. I had some bigger ones that I'd caught earlier, but they was 4 days old, and they just wasn't, you know, shad don't have very good body structure. So I went after some fresh ones the day before the tournament, and they was all little bitty ones. And we used them to caught fish on them because that's what they've been eating, you know. But these today are a lot higher quality baits for tomorrow. So we'll run up there and see if we can get. There's a flat that I like to fish up there, and that's where we're headed. I haven't been up there yet this year, so we'll see. But man, like I say, watching her rip them gills today, she was having a blast, and she no more get the worm on her hook and have one on. She'd take it off and and she complained about the worm being gone, or she didn't catch fish enough. If she caught fish, she didn't really say too much. But if they stole her bait, she'd get a case of red ash. You know what I mean?
I can definitely relate to that. You'd mentioned you were getting shad right there off a dock, and you know what follows shad around, right? Well, catfish and crappie, they both
That's right.
follow them. They're predators.
You
So
bet.
I would bet that not too far, if not right there, whatever day, that if you just went back out there, you would do pretty good, especially
Oh,
when
sure.
it's shad. The crappie that eat shad, at least in my experience, are the ones that I catch by shad balls are usually the bigger ones.
Yeah. Here is something, Mark, that will be a tip for people that want to know about catching shad. When we got there, the sun was out. It was 80 degrees or close to it, maybe over that, and no shad hitting the top of the water. So there's no sense. If they're not hitting the top of the water, probably not in there. And as we caught them bluegill and I played around with the fly rod, you'd see them move in. They would be hitting the top of the water around out from us. And then it get closer and closer. The next thing you know, they're hitting the water around that dock we was fishing off those. That's when I picked up the cast net first throw. I got them. So but cloud cover had come. When the cloud cover come, or when it's a cloudy day, them bigger ones are in there. If it's a hot sunny day, they're not. Now, why that is, I don't know. But now on the Lake of the Ozarks, when Cindy and I went up there to get shad, we would watch, and there would be clouds of black come around the boat. And you'd take the net and throw it on them, and you had all the little fellers you wanted. Tons of them. But no big ones. The big ones, I don't know where they was at. I didn't find them that day. But it would just be clouds, and you'd see a cloud over here and a cloud over here, and just wait till one come by the boat and just toss the net on it. You got all the bait you want. They're not very big, but they'll work. So
where I get my shad from the bank, they don't jump, but that's because they're in current. I get right up under a dam. I've never really caught them in slow current. I've never had to. I've never tried. Usually I'll use the bank to get my shad. I really haven't thrown off of my new boat yet. My old boat, definitely not, because I would end up in the drink. Oh, look, there's Josh, and Chad decided to show up. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hey, gentlemen.
Josh says, did Mark just say catfish and crappie follows? No.
I won't tell them what you said about Chad Balgo.
That wasn't me. That was you. Oh.
Oh, man. Did Chad get a great-looking boat or what?
He sure did.
That's nice.
Sure did. I'm happy for him.
I am, too. Him and Dee deserve that, just like you deserve getting yours. And I'm excited for them. They wanted a new one and probably needed a little bit bigger boat. Well, need has nothing to do with the one overrules everything. But that is a beautiful boat. Great boat for them. Congratulations. I know they're going to love that thing, and they'll catch a ton of fish out of it. Well, Dee will.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope it's worry-free, except for Chad throwing stuff off of it. He's still got a christen it. That's how I think he's going to do it. Throw a rod off the side or a phone or something like that. Then it's officially Chad's boat.
That's right. Boat. That's right. Joe Buck, welcome, my friend.
What's going on, Joe? How you doing?
But yeah, it'll be fun. They're going to enjoy that. And I seen a picture where Lissa and Dee and Chad was all out in the new boat. And maybe this new boat will be better, and Lissa will like it a little bit. She's not a big fisherman, and but this will be a lot better. She'll have a lot more room to run around. Even if she don't fish, if she just goes with mom and dad, they'll be happier. I promise you.
Yeah, she'll have a little more room. His other boat did the job, but it was close quarters in there.
It was tight, just like all. You do what you do. We've done the same thing. I used to have little bitty boats too, but I just don't have them anymore. There is places I'd like to go. No kayaks, but I'd like to have a little John boat to take some places that I go fishing now. But
you know what you need to get, Lyle? One of the fishing jet skis.
No.
Yes.
I'm telling you what, if you would see the jet skis that Cindy and I did last weekend out Lake Ozark, you would never say that. Oh my God. She got into it with the kid. He would come in there playing around, and our boat was almost coming out of the water on one side. Now I had it tied up to the dock. When he was playing around the dock as I was going to get the truck, I hollered down. I said, I need to come down there and get a hold of that kid. And his dad was standing there. I said, just come on up here. I'll get a hold of you and he can watch. So that's what you do. You can't do it to the kid, but you take care of the dad because he don't make the kid mind. And then he'll make him mind. That doing that is crazy. What would that guy done if it had been one of them $100,000 bass boats? Because it wouldn't have mattered to that kid. He don't care. He just tore a side off of it.
Creel says, Dad's 16-foot Express has become the puddle jumper. Mine is a big water boat. There you go.
That's right. Well, Creel, you fish water that you need a big boat and a lot of motor. And a lot of motor means no 15, 20 horses. The bigger you got, the better. Because that Mississippi River is nothing to fool with.
Well, all them old timers have been on that river in John boats with 25s for the longest time.
40s was real popular.
40 was the motor. That's the two cycle you want is a 40. That's what lasted forever and kept running. But yeah, them guys didn't care. They left over there like they were heading to church or something.
Them old guys wanted a 16-foot John boat with the bench seats in them. No padding, no comfort of any kind. Just jump in here, we'll use some worms, and we'll go catch some kind of fish. And they did. And it was cheaper, and they had a great time. I've been with a lot of them old fellas. That's how I learned a lot of what I know about fishing, and it worked. They park right up underneath the dam where you wasn't supposed to be and throw an anchor out and grab a beer, and let's go to fishing. That's the way it worked.
My neighbor's father, real good guy. I got a chance to talk to him. He's a taxidermist. I think I've told the story about him. But we got to talking about fishing at his grandson's graduation when they had it here next door. He was talking about fishing right at the Sterling Dam where he lives for years and years out of a little 12-foot John boat, throw an anchor out and a tub of dip bait, and he'd get a cooler of channel cats every time he'd go out there. He said he was missing those days. So.
Oh, yeah, I bet so. Cindy and I was talking, and I told her this morning after I come in, I had a terrible morning this morning with the fly rod. I took 2 fly rods with me, and I kept switching out flies and stuff, and I ended up catching one sucker about 8 inches long. Good sucker, but just one, and I just couldn't hook up with anything else. And I had a case of the ass about that, and I come in, I told Cindy, I said, I'd like to go somewhere else today and try to get some bait and go fishing in the morning. And she was playing with her dog and took her and got ready. And this afternoon we run over to Stockton and got those. But I've struggled with that fly rod today, and I haven't been. I've been doing really well with it, catching bait and some nice bluegills and some small ones, but it doesn't matter to me on that fly rod. They're all fun. You know what I mean?
I do not. I hope to find out one of these days.
But it is a lot of fun using that. But I was having trouble with the jigs today too. Now I did catch a bunch of them on a pink jig with orange tail. It was orange marabou tail, and it worked really well. The body was pink Chanel and the head was pink, but an orange marabou tail. And I caught some fish on there, 7, 8, nothing like Cindy was catching, but it is what it is. I wanted to catch them on that fly rod, and they just wouldn't. They wouldn't have nothing to do with it today. And there's days like that. But thank goodness she picked up the slack for me.
At least you guys got bait. That's one advantage to bank fishing would be if you want to try fly fishing or you are a fly fisherman, it's a little easier than doing it off a boat. At least the kind of boats that we have.
If you're in my boat and I got that fly rod out, you can see ducking and bobbing and weaving.
But it's Sheila during the couples tournament. Don't hit me with the bait. Don't hit me with the bait.
Well, we have that issue too sometimes. But, I like catching my bait off the bank. And I'm not a big bank fisherman because I'm always worried about hitting a slick spot and falling in the water, stuff like that. But Some about catching bait off them docks and around banks. If you can find wood under the water where a tree's fallen, you can catch all the bait you want usually. If you can find a nice rock pile or a rock bank, usually that's really good for bluegill and sunfish of all kinds. And I like fishing those. Now, if I can get to a spot like that where there's a lot of rock and a bunch of wood, I'll pull them jigs out then, buddy. We'll go to work because that's be a great place. And I think you catch a lot of crappie off them, depending on water depth.
On time of the year, definitely.
There's Pontoon Jody and Chrissy Brown.
What's up, Chrissy? How you doing, Parker? What's going on, Jody? How you guys doing? That's one of the okay, real quick. One of the disadvantages to both boat and bank fishing is access. Bank fishing, you don't have enough access. Boat fishing, you got too much access. You don't know where to start.
Well, that's right. And that's what Navionics and things like that are for. Google Earth to help you narrow those choices down.
Well, I'm talking about even like public access, at least in my neck of the woods. It's hard to know where you can and can't fish that isn't public property. If it's not like a park or some other kind of state-run facility, which usually has all sorts of stipulations.
Right.
All sorts of stipulations that can prevent you. And then once you get up on a river, you got at least on my section of river, I got 18 miles to choose from, and that can work for you and against you too. So
Mark Barnum says, so if I'm tied up to the wing dam and fishing out of the boat, am I a bank fishing or boat fishing? Since I'm tied up, you're still in a boat.
You're still boat fishing.
You're still boat fishing.
Unless you do a Jerry Parker and hike your butt out there, you're boat fishing.
Yeah, and if you're Jerry Parker and you got your butt hanging out there, then you might have an issue. Although I got a kid that does that a lot.
Did you say hello to Avid? What's going on, Avid?
Hey, Avid, he was in early, one of the first ones in. Mike Sampson was the first one, I believe, and Avid was next, I believe. But, Jerry, he don't mind showing his ass. He really don't.
Or grabbing a few. I ain't going to say any more than that.
Yeah, I don't know nothing about that. He's a hoot, man. He really is. But he catches a lot of fish, and to catch a lot of fish, what do you need, Mark? Bait. Gotta have bait. And Jerry Parker, for those of you that haven't watched any of his videos, you probably ought to go to Parker Pursuits and check him out. He does a lot of fishing, walking up and down creeks and catching, not just fishing for bait, so to speak, but he catches a lot of bass and bluegill and panfish of all kinds. And he's very knowledgeable, and he gives a lot of instructions out when he does that. So you want to make sure to check that out. Jerry's got a great channel. Man, if you like catfishing, catching big fish, he's got a video where he caught 2 80s in one day. You need to take a look at that.
Yes, he did. And we overlooked him for Bank Fisherman of the Year that year. I remember that.
I was so disappointed because I'd never even seen or heard about the video. I did, but after I did, I thought, how did I miss this? Oh, my God. D, member for 8 months. Thank you, D. We appreciate it so very much.
Congratulations again, D, on the new bow. Real quick, let me hit Creo's comment up real quick, and then we'll highlight D's. It says, tip, tax assessor's office in your county courthouse has maps on computer that show land ownership and if a spot is in question. Now, the reason why I wanted to bring that up, Lyle, have you ever heard of an app called Onyx?
No.
Onyx is a hunting app that shows private and public land and access to land for hunting, right?
Okay.
I just filled out something to become a tester for Onyx Fishing.
Okay.
So they're going to have that information all on your phone when you're ready to go. Not only depth maps, 3D depth maps, they're also going to have land rights and stuff like that.
Very nice.
I'm looking forward to see if I get accepted into this beta testing
that
program.
That sounds like a plat map.
It is, but it's all on your phone.
That would be a lot handier because a plat map, if you can get one, they're a book about this wide and about that tall, and it covers everything you ever want to know about anything that has to do with land. But they're really hard to get. But I'd love to have one.
Well, hopefully soon you'll be able to just download that app and take a look at it like you do Navionics and stuff. So it'll be kind of cool to have. I wanted to bring that up. I was kind of excited when I found out.
Heck yeah, I want to see some more about that. If you have the link to that, maybe later, maybe send it to me. I'd like to take a look at that. Not, I'm just interested in the app, uh, whether it be water or land, because my kids and I used to hunt around Truman Lake. There's a lot of public hunting land, and we would go by boat and get to places that a lot of people couldn't get to, and we hunted that and done pretty well. But not that I plan on doing it, but I might someday again go shoot another deer. I haven't hunted in 8 or 9 years. I used to dearly love that, but we'll see how it works out.
I had the deer hunting talk with Sheila, and she's like, you're not bringing that in my house. So,
oh, come on, Sheila, you got a boat.
No. Yeah, so I'll cut her some slack. Maybe next year I'll work on it for the hunting.
I got to bring this up. It has nothing to do with panfish. But she was in that boat the other day with you in Chad's tournament, and I honestly believe she had a wonderful time. She felt very comfortable and right at home with the rest of us, which shocked me because the rest of us are kind of rough around the edge.
What did you guys think of her? She's married to me for.
She done. We were so glad she had a good time, man. Everybody was happy that she got to fish with you because I know that's been something that you've been dreaming about. And she fished all day and seemed to have a great time. And I hope that continues and you guys fish a lot more of that stuff.
Well, there's a price to be paid for that. Now I'm going to have to go to Branson and go watch shows and Christmas lights for her birthday, Lyle.
If it has to be one of us, I'm so glad it's you and not me.
So I didn't want you to think that it was all her. I had to wheel and deal my way into getting her on that boat.
Whatever it takes, man.
Mark Barno says water temp is 5 degrees warmer this week than it was last week.
Last year
went on the river. Oh, last year went on the river. Well, we had a cold spring. At least we did here. You did too, as well, didn't you, Lyle?
Yeah. Yes.
So it just pushed the weather back. Got to think of it that way. So,
but that right there tells me that Mark has kept track of things. No. If he compared this week to last year's, he's got an idea what's going on.
And then I gotta highlight this one. Read that one for me, Lyle.
My ass is my best feature. I know nothing about that.
Somebody clip that for Lyle, would you please?
Nothing about that. Here's a good one. Erwin, the paid tourist, says, I have an app, Hunt Stand, to find out land info. So there you go. Whoop. Parker says, I use the Onyx app to find hidden public ground for hunting. That's awesome. That is awesome. That sounds like a good deal to me.
Creel says, Mark, I hear you. That's why I've got a large chicken coop attached to my shop.
That'll go away when you build Laura that new house.
I don't think it'll go away. Once you let it through the door, it usually doesn't leave.
The chicken coop.
The chicken coop. But I do have to say, Creel, you got to love deviled eggs, man. You can't complain about that.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, man.
And then Creel says, too bad you're sitting on your looks, Jerry.
That's right.
And Mark says that the fishing is slow compared to last year. Well, let's take a second to talk about that.
Yes.
I've had a rough year, Lyle. I'm not even going to lie.
Yeah.
When it comes to fishing on the river, it's been slow. It's been rough. It's unproductive. The days that, some of my friends have been pretty productive and successful are days that I haven't been able to get out there. I just haven't been able to hit it. Not that there was many of those chances to do so. So
I got you. Well, I had a it was 100 degrees a bunch of days this year, and I am not going to get out in that. I don't have to, and I'm not going to be miserable even if the fish are biting, you're uncomfortable, and I don't have to do. This is my kind of weather. Anywhere from I prefer 60s. 60s and 70s are very comfortable for me, low 80s. So right now is my favorite time of the year between now and January. January usually gets a little cold for me, but and I'm not ice fishing, so I don't have to worry about any of that nonsense. But right now, through the end of November is probably some of the best fishing times that there is, in, for me anyhow. Uh, Whether you be catfishing or fishing for sunfish or whatever, because it just seems like I can catch more bigger fish easier and not have to work so hard to get them. And it doesn't seem like they're as particular about what they eat. Uh, that's just me, but that's my time, my favorite time of year. We was out 5 times last week fishing, more than Dockery. We was out twice today, so that's 2 times for this week, more than Dockery. So I hope I can catch some fish tomorrow and send him some pictures like he does me.
Hopefully, I'll have some pictures to share after this weekend. It's been kind of iffy where I'm going, so we'll see what happens. I see that it's on fire down by Josh on Rend Lake, so hopefully Josh will get on there and get on some crappie bite here pretty soon. That's not
I hope he does. Rend Lake is full of crappie. It's a great place to fish. I've never fished it, but man, some of the images and pictures and stuff I've seen out there from other people, not just Josh, and Josh has got some stuff, and he's told me some stories, and it's really close to his house. He can fish it anytime he wants to, I think. But it's a great, great fishery.
closer than Mendota is to me, I believe.
I would say so, and that's pretty damn close.
It's not that close.
It's an hour and a half.
It's 2 hours away, hour and 50 minutes.
Mendota. Oh my God.
Grief.
I would be there at least once a week, I think. Well, you say that, but when it happens, you probably wouldn't be. But man, here's a good comment. Mark says 2 days on the river, we caught 1 turtle, 1 skipjack, 1 gar, 1 walleye. Only catfish was a dink on a worm. Wow, that's a tough couple days.
I caught 5 turtles. I was out on the river, what is it, like 3 weeks ago? I caught 5 turtles in one night, Lyle.
Oh, there was a time when my kids was still at home that we would go fishing and Cindy go with us, and she would always catch at least 1 turtle. We started calling her the turtle lady. And all of a sudden one day she stopped catching them, and I can't remember the last time she caught one, but the kids call her the turtle lady because she always caught turtles. Yeah, I bet that walleye was tasty. They're good eating.
A lot of soft shells, by the way. I haven't caught a snapping turtle this year, so I was kind of surprised by that. I usually don't catch this many soft shells, and they were big ones too.
Yeah. I think I've showed you a picture, but I don't know if I told anybody else. Every year, well, for 2 years in a row, we had a big snapping turtle that would come across my yard in the spring when it would come out of wherever it buries itself. And we have a retention pond that has water in it when we get a lot of rain, but after that it goes away. And I think that's where that turtle stayed 2 years in a row. And it would come across my yard and still have mud and grass on its back. I've got pictures of it. I posted those pictures. This year we didn't see it. So I don't know if it stayed somewhere else over the winter or it come through and I didn't get to see it. But I'd get down on the ground right in front of it and take pictures of that thing by 35 millimeter because it got to be, we was thinking of a name for him. And, you see him 2 years in a row, you get to expect him, but he didn't show up this year, so I don't know if he's moved or somebody run over him or who knows.
Well, you might have just missed him. You might not have seen him come.
I hope that's the case because hell, let's just pick around.
Yeah, they get pretty big.
This one probably weighed 20 pounds or so.
My one knucklehead buddy, he caught the biggest alligators, or not alligator, but biggest snapping turtle I've ever seen come out of this river. This thing, Lyle, he had it by both the front of the shell and the back of the shell. And I kid you not, it was at least 30 inches from.
Oh wow, that's a giant.
The thing was monstrous, and it was
75 years old.
Oh, I have no clue, but it was. Yeah. It was all covered in stuff, and it just did not look happy or pleasant.
Yeah. Evan says he's going to try to catch some crappie Sunday. That'll be fun. Creole says,
you go ahead and read that.
if it catches one, it's coming home. I used to take them home. We clean them and eat them. They're very good eating. I always heard my whole life that you could taste 7 different kinds of animal in there when he's eating them. It just tastes good. It just all tastes the same to me. Hi, Dan Thompson. Welcome to chat, buddy. Glad to see you in here.
What's
Are
up,
you
Dan?
able to tie light green with pearl with jigs? Yes, I am.
Evan knows how to get in touch with you, so
He does.
I've never eaten turtle. I'm not too happy. I'm not too.
Deep fried, it's awesome, and I hear turtle soup is good. I've not had that. I can't tell you, but deep fried turtle is awesome.
Have you ever had anything deep fried that you didn't like, Lyle? I've had one thing.
I'm trying to think of anything that I ever had that I didn't like that was fried. I can't think of anything.
The only thing I've ever had that deep fried that I didn't like was a deep fried oyster, and that tasted like a deep fried booger, as far as I'm concerned.
Now, how do you know what that tastes like?
I imagined it's what it would taste like.
Deep fried and smoked, you can't hardly go wrong. You know what I mean?
I do agree with that.
Parker says there's a box turtle on one of the power plants we do work at that has been hanging around for 35 years. I have seen a ton of box turtles crossing the roads today. And I used to pick them up for my grandkids, but I don't anymore. But my dogs play with them if I bring them home. I think a snapper or loggerhead is year per pound on age. That sounds about right. They used to have a giant one in Bass Pro in Springfield. They had it in an aquarium down there by itself. And they said it was over 100 years old. It was a stud. I mean, hell, the head on it was bigger around than both my hands together. Just the head. It didn't move around much, and it didn't. Of course, it was confined where it couldn't go anywhere. But whatever they put in that for it ate. It didn't matter what it was. It just ate everything. So, but it was a cool dude.
Jerry Parker says, ever had duck sausage, Mark? Laugh out loud. No, Jerry, do you recommend it?
I think Jerry'd eat about anything, wouldn't he?
I think so, too. I've had a goose bratwurst. It wasn't too bad.
Goose deep fried is awesome.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Here we go.
It's one of those kind of foods that if the lights went out and there was one piece left, somebody would have about 10 forks in the back of his hand.
Tackle box, look at this. We're having turtle talk tonight. It says, I seen a big snapper caught by a swimming beach. The guy brought the snapper to the river nearby.
Wow.
You know, back to the bank fishing thing. We have a lot of ponds out here you can bank fish off. Subdivision ponds, park district ponds and so on. And they're all packed with turtles. We have turtle crossing signs everywhere, whether they're like
crossing signs. Never seen one of those.
Well, I'll take a picture of one, Lyle, and
do that, please.
I will.
We'll even Panfish Nation.
And the ones that don't have signs at them, some little girl or little boy will make up a sign, and their parents will post it up on a telephone pole or something. So
that's
they love their turtles around here. The kids do, at least. So.
Hey, that's all right. There's a lot worse things than kids can be doing.
Creel says everything is good in rice and gravy.
Mark Ronald says State Fair, you can get deep fried Snickers. How do you eat that? I can't imagine that. But deep fried, everything's good. It just is.
I've had deep fried Oreo and deep fried Snicker or deep fried Twinkies are pretty good.
Deep fried Twinkie.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I tell you what, I'm going to deep fry. If I get on them tomorrow, it's going to be catfish.
So you're going to be fishing off the bank or off your boat tomorrow, Lyle?
They'll be on the boat tomorrow.
On the boat? You and Cindy going to head out?
Yeah, we'll leave at whatever time we get up in the morning. I'm not going to set the alarm, nothing probably, but we'll go up there and see if we can do something. And if the blues ain't biting, we'll try to catch some big bluegill.
There you go, and fry them up. I expect a picture of one or the other tomorrow.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited about getting to go up there. We haven't been up there all year. it's a great place to fish, and we'll be drifting. I'm curious to know if there's any kind of phone signal up there, because that's one of the problems that we have everywhere we go. But I'll probably take camera equipment and maybe do some recording, and we'll see how it works. But phone signal for me has really been elusive, and it doesn't seem like it used to be that bad, but it's that bad now for whatever reason.
It's probably when they changed over to 5G. That probably had something to do with the coverage areas. But speaking of that,
that in my area.
I did see a signal booster that they sell. They've been advertised to me on Facebook. You can get a signal booster and you get in no problem, Lyle.
I haven't seen that, but
we'll go shopping after the show. It's only $500. You'll be good to go.
We're not going shopping unless we're using your credit card.
No, I don't have any credit cards. They've been taken away since I bought that boat.
That's right. Oh man, Mark, he's talking about deep fried ice cream. I've not ever had that either, but if you go to State Fair, what's in funnel cakes is what I like.
Yeah, those are pretty good, definitely. I've had deep fried ice cream at a Mexican restaurant chain that we used to have around here. They're no longer so. Cindy says, "No, he ain't."
No, he ain't what?
I think talk about shopping.
Oh no, he ain't doing that. That's for sure. That is for sure. Mark, she said something the other day about maybe we need to get a boat, and I said our boat's paid for. Let's not do that.
I think you need a new boat, Lyle.
No, I like my boat, and I don't have no payments to make on it. I can't whip out the dough to buy a new boat, without having to finance, and I just don't want to. I don't want to
spend some of that jig money you make so much of, Lyle.
No, I haven't been selling very many jigs, and I haven't been making very many. I haven't made any probably for 3 or 4 or 5 days.
Really? You feel all right?
I feel a little ill, to tell you the truth. I might have to tie up some tonight. What is the channel with the bragging board? I forgot. Catfish Weekly. That was Josh's idea. It's a great idea. He does a bang-up job with that. It's one of my favorite parts of the show now, especially when you get quality fish like we had last week. Wow, Monday night was an awesome show with the bragging board. Josh really done a really good job.
Definitely was. So are you saying that he's your favorite co-host on the show now?
No, I didn't.
I think I heard you say that, Lyle.
I did not say that. Oh man, 500 Catfish Weekly Monday night show coming up here in a couple weeks. Man, oh man,
500 shows.
Yeah,
that's a lot of work. I know. Trust me, I know.
It is. It's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed it for all these years, and we're in the 10th season. And with Catfish Weekly, I found 2 great co-hosts that are doing a bang-up job, and we'll talk about that night on the 500th episode. So you guys are going to want to tune into that. Chad and Josh are planning some stuff. Should be a lot of fun. We're going to give away some stuff. We're going to have a lot of fun. And there'll be some announcements made. So
are you giving away Chad's boat?
No, I'm thinking if we done that, we'd have to sell chances at it. And then I'm not sure Dee's going to like that.
Probably not.
So we better leave that alone.
You can get, Josh has got lots of boats, so he can give away one of his.
Could, yeah.
He's got an extra one, I'm sure, laying around.
Josh can make you a deal at his used boat lot. He probably could. He's got a boat that's very near and dear to him. It was his grandfather's. And I would say 25, 30 years from now, Josh will still have that boat. I doubt if it ever leaves his house. So, and that's the way it should be. Him and his grandfather used to fish together a lot when he was a youngster. And it's the perfect boat to take his daughter and son out and teach them to fish in. And that way Granddad could watch over and make sure everything's done correctly.
To get back to the topic of the show, my grandfather, who pretty much taught me how to fish. We used to bank fish, so I grew up bank fishing, not boat fishing, bank fishing.
Right.
And you had mentioned Josh keeping the boat that he fished with his grandfather. And well, I still have the stringer and the tackle box my grandfather used to have.
Oh
And
wow, that's cool.
that's not something that I use or take out for the most part. I got it put away in a safe spot, so that's where it stays. But definitely, those things definitely do mean a lot to the people who experience that kind of thing. You remember that stuff, so.
Absolutely. I've got my dad basically hunted for rabbits and he hunted for quail. He wasn't a deer hunter. No, that he went deer hunting a couple times when I was a kid, but not much. But I have his old hunting hat, and it's just one of them old yellow looking canvas hats that he wore. The only time I ever wore it when we were hunting, and I ended up getting that at Mom's here a few years ago when she was still alive, and I have it. I've kept it, and I'll have that till I'm gone, and nobody will know whose it was or what it's about. I've told the boys they know. One of them will probably want it, but yeah, it's something that I'll never turn loose of for any reason.
Yeah, I look at that stuff and I can still hear my grandfather. He's been gone for a long time, but I can still hear him cussing at me, Lyle.
Understand? I sure do.
Mm.
So I think for me, the most part for what I do, a lot of my fishing for panfish is, especially when I'm bait fishing. Now, if I'm fishing for bluegills to eat, I'm probably going to be on the boat because I can move around and run and gun. For bait fishing, these docks are really working out for me, Mark. Uh, Now it's not if I'm there's a place up on Truman, the city, and I was looking at here a while back that I went to uh, the boat ramp, and I was catching the crap out of them off of riprap rock, bluegills. Not it wasn't riprap, it was small rock. Uh, they was really in there that day, and I was just laying them out. That's a place to take your boat because you can move quickly. But there again, that's like I was saying. It's one of those areas that's got a lot of rock and a lot of wood in it. And bluegill and crappie both love them. Uh, but for me, bait fishing, if I'm catching bluegill the size of my hand, them's eaters. I want to eat some of them. I'll keep me a half a dozen or 10 of them, and we'll have them one night for dinner. But if I'm looking for, I want smaller ones as a general rule, maybe a couple of big ones like that, but mostly smaller ones for bait. And I want a place I can get them, a lot of them, real quick. And we was at that place today, Mark, and I consider fishing off of that dock bank fishing.
Oh, absolutely, it is. That's totally bank fishing as far as I'm concerned. Make a note of that place. Go back there. See what happens there in the spring. Usually, the spring will mirror the fall when it comes to bluegills.
A lot of it's going to depend on water levels.
Yeah, water levels, weather, temperature, water temperature, all of that stuff. Who knows? Or they could be still hiding in the weeds. Are the weeds dying off over there? Or
Yeah, so the water's so far from any weeds.
yeah,
It's I'm guessing Stockton's probably 15, 20 foot low at least. It's way low. But Stockton, here several years ago, the city of Springfield was having problems with their lakes. Had run low one year, and they put in a six, I think it was it's 3 or 6 foot uh, pipeline from Stockton Lake to Springfield to put it in there so they didn't run out of water. And I think that they run that quite a bit still. They've got big diesel engines that I guess it just moves an unbelievable amount of water. And that may be part of the reason why the lake's so low. I don't know. I haven't been to McDaniel Lake or Lake Springfield or any of the water supply lakes for the city. So I don't know, but I know that they pump that water. And when they pump it, they pump a lot of it fast.
I need to check the date, but they always lower the river down for Well, actually, they lower the chain to winter pool, and once that water moves through the river, it's pretty much here and gone. It gets really low. Same with a couple of little local like reservoirs, dammed off creeks and stuff. They'll lower that water level quite a bit. So that's going to happen here pretty soon. So I need to get out there and do a little fishing. So
yeah, that sounds. And now, what is the majority of pan fishing you do? Bank or boat?
off the bank for the majority. I don't, other than crappie, I don't do too much off the boat, or I haven't in the past.
Right,
That's definitely going to change. Usually, you know me, I'm chasing flathead all summer long.
right.
You know, I finally went and chased some kings out of the boat. That was a first for me. Crappie, I go in the fall and the spring. So we'll see. I'd like to squeeze some walleye and maybe even some pike fishing in there somewhere, but it's getting harder and harder to do.
Yep, yep.
Hey, there's Jesse from Outdoors Addiction. What's going on, Jesse? How are you, bud? Jesse's out there by Rock Cut State Park, Lake Pierce. There's some pretty decent access there for bank fishing too, and some of the fish over there are very much accessible off the bank. So hopefully he's getting out there and enjoying that state park out by him. That's
Absolutely.
I haven't been there in a while. Usually I'll catch few crappie. They're not a lot of numbers, but they're always good ones, like 14 inches plus, and a lot of white bass too. Big size 14-inch white bass. So for here, that's big.
Yeah, absolutely. It is pretty much anywhere. I just, I'm trying to figure out. A lot of people don't like to pan fish from the bank, uh, but there's no place that you can't. You can usually just drop a bait in and catch panfish anywhere. I mean, not anywhere, but
in the summer, I would agree with you. Up here in the next month or so, they're gonna disappear. They're gonna be unreachable in some of these bigger ponds here by my house. So.
They'll be deep though, won't they?
Yeah, they'll be deep, and getting baits out to them is almost impossible. And you can't even get a kayak on these bodies of water because it's not allowed. So, which is good. That one trophy spot I got, that's probably why they're so big. They got all winter and early spring, late fall to recover. So
I would like to know the restrictions on going to these lakes that are in these subdivisions.
Most of them are catch and release. Some of them only the residents can fish there because their HOA is what pays for the care and maintenance of said bodies of water. Other than that, it's a lot of catch and release, definitely. So
I don't care about the catch and release. I would be happy to do that because I know where there's so many of them, especially in Springfield, around these doctors' offices and places like that. Nobody ever fishes them.
well, that's good and bad. You'll get a lot of stunned panfish in those spots.
They won't grow to be. Yeah, they need to be. So a lot of places like that, people don't understand. If you don't take some of them out of places like that, you'll have a bunch of bass about that long.
Mm-hmm.
Or bluegill that's half grown and never get any bigger.
You'll get those 4-inch bluegill one after another, and they won't get any bigger than that.
That's right.
Bluegill. That happens quite a bit. There's a lot of ponds over here that are like that. We got Woods Creek over here, a couple of places where it's dammed off. They got little spillways, nothing like you would think. They're just little, low head dams. And they seem to do a little better than those, and people aren't taking them from there either. But that water's moving through there. High water's washing some of the fish away and washing bait fish into there. So those seem to do pretty good. Just like, when we had the talk with Bob Lusk, water quality has a lot to do with it. And one of the better ways of having good water quality is to have water that flushes in and out of a small body of water like that.
Absolutely.
I did a couple of live streams from the one creek spot, which is where the water comes into one of our public ponds over here. So we used to ice fish at that pond quite a bit, but they kind of put a stop to that after dark. No one's allowed back there on the ice. So there's rules like that. Even here on the river, some of the bank access spots, they're considered these access spots. The townships consider them parks, and you're not allowed in them after 11 o'clock at night. So they want to kick everybody out, and that's because somebody's ruined it in the past. So
Right.
Those are struggles the bank fishermen definitely have to put up with. Not so much out, maybe not so much out near you or where some of the other people in chat are, but that definitely in an urban environment has a lot to do with it. And plus, if you go in some of the better spots or in some of the worst neighborhoods too, you want to
That's
keep
true. Yeah.
you want to keep out of them too. So,
Oh yeah, that is a fact for sure. But yeah, I see a lot of these, and you know how going to a doctor or a dentist is. A lot of times you're sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting, and especially if you're sitting in the truck and the other person you're with is in the office. I'm thinking, well, you know what? I got a fly rod, so we might as well go down here and
hey,
see if we can try one out.
play the older gentleman card if somebody pulls up and says, "Oh, I didn't know I didn't have my glasses on. I couldn't read the sign. I'll leave."
No, that'd be the truth.
Just say thank you very much. I'll leave.
Yeah, that's what you do. So I didn't know you wasn't allowed to fish here.
Exactly. It's easier
Thought it
to
was
ask
public
forgiveness
order.
than it is permission most of the time. So
That's right. It's always easier. Always easier. You know, I forgot something, Mark. We were supposed to give away our
all the members prize at dinner,
members
but
prize tonight.
we could do that next Wednesday this so we can let our members know that
Yeah.
that can happen. And if you're not a member, Lyle, do you have one of those jig boxes handy? I think you keep one by your desk, don't you?
I usually do, but I don't tonight.
Okay, well, I'm sure the people know.
Yeah.
Lyle gives away every month for all the members. He has a giveaway. He gives a collection of his jigs out in a nice box, the Lyle Stokes collection. Is that what you call it, Lyle?
That is correct. And this is the jig month. Last month was flies. And I forgot we was going to do it this week. So we'll go ahead and do it next week. Of course, I've got the jigs and flies already tagged. So I'll put together a box and we'll give it away to one of our members. And then we'll start over in the last Wednesday of October. We'll give away flies that month. So
are we gonna have one next week to make up for missing this week?
yeah, we'll give away one. We'll give away one next week, and then the last weekend in October, we'll give away a box of flies. How's that?
Cool. We'll make sure to be ready. So if you guys want to help support the channel, click at the link on the bottom or go to the channel main page and click join as a member. And Lyle will definitely appreciate that, and it'll get you entered into the giveaway for next week.
Absolutely, we want to support our members as much as it can. We appreciate them being part of what we do, and for all the guys in chat, it's wonderful for the input that you guys leave us. If you guys have any specific topic you'd like Mark and I to talk about, please just send us a message. We'll be glad to take that and take a look at it. Most of the time, if somebody wants to see it, if it's something we know anything about, we'll give it a shot. So.
I've had that comment down below you highlighted for a little while here. Tackle Box Mike is asking, do catfish put their feedback on in the fall?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, they do.
They not only do they put at least this is what I believe is not only do they put their feedback on, they change their whole eating habits. So.
I think so too.
Yeah, like I fish in such a shallow water river that most of the year I'm fishing directly on the bottom. If I don't get them baits up off the bottom, and if I don't make a switch over to shad this time of year, it's fruitless. It ain't worth it.
Shad is the bait of choice for catfish in the winter. Just is. I can't tell you why, but it is. Maybe it's because it stinks, because it does.
And I've had a lot of fruitless nights learning that lesson the hard way, Lyle.
Yeah. I understand.
It's the best way to learn.
That's how you do it.
And the same thing with panfishing, fishing off the bank. Just keep trying spot after spot, and hopefully you'll hit it at the right time.
Yep. And the biggest thing about pan fishing, in my opinion, is some type of structure. And for me, wood is the best. They love wood, and the older it is, the better they like it.
We don't have as much wood to fish off of here, so it's weed lines and weeds.
Dale Hayslip.
What's going on?
When I say old wood, I'm talking about trees or root balls or something that's been in there for years and years and years. They're living around that. Some of these panfish, these bluegills and stuff, grew up and was around that, and they've never really left. They just love wood. What catfish do too. So great show tonight, Mark.
I had a lot of fun talking, Lyle, as we always do.
That's fair.
I expect a lot of pictures from you tomorrow.
I hope so. I hope we get on some. Like I say, it's one of my favorite places to go, and we'll see how it works. We're set on bait, so Cindy came in here a minute ago and said, "Do you have everything put up?" It's raining outside, so I'm thinking, "Damn!" But you know how that is.
I do know, Lyle. You know how happy I was and relieved I was able to fit that boat in my garage.
Yeah.
Well, I took it out. I hooked it up, took it out. As soon as I got it out the door, it started raining. So I had to hurry up and climb up the ladder and get the cover down and get her covered up. Yeah, it was.
Of course it did.
It never fails.
I got a new cover for my boat to store it for, when it's going to set for a while. And I've been doing so much work to it this year. I haven't put it on yet, but I'm getting ready to. The only problem that I have with any cover for my boat is when you put the cover on, you got to take the trolling motor off and take a chance on ripping it. Pain in the butt, but it beats it being out exposed to the elements. So that's what we're going to do. And we'll see how it works out. Never say a lady says, "I love old wood." I got you, man.
I was laughing at that a minute ago. I figured I'd let you read that.
No, I'm going to. I want to thank everybody for watching the show tonight. We had a wonderful time bringing the show to you guys. If you hadn't hit the thumbs up button, please do as you leave. We appreciate it very much. You guys have been an awesome guest. Bunch of people in chat tonight. If you haven't subscribed to Panfish Nation, please do so. And if you're inclined to, we would love to have you as a member. Then you too can win some of those jigs and fly.
Hit the thumbs up before you leave, folks.
Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you next Wednesday night. Don't forget Monday night, Catfish Weekly, and Mark has his catfish.
I'm off next Monday because I'm just be getting back from town, so we'll be back.
Okay, you're off next week, so the following week you'll be in there, and we'll be back next Wednesday night right here, and tomorrow night, Chad and Brian and Freddie will be doing the bait shop, so you want to make sure and check them out. See you next week.